This is Spreaker Web Radio.
What is going on, everybody? TNA 2012 pay-per-view review show. It's in the books, y'all. It really is. It was last night. It was in the Arlington area. It was in Texas. Bigger, better, faster, whatever you want to call it. It was in Texas. We got a great show for you. Next Generation Wrestling site at Weebly.com is where you need to be. It's where you came from, and that's where you can check out all the news, rumors, spoilers, and results, play-by-play coverage of every WWE, TNA, ROH, anything else you need to know about professional wrestling. Next Generation Wrestling site at Weebly.com. You can find out other wrestling websites, All American Wrestling, and All Access Wrestling. Sports, yeah, everybody loves sports. Established.weebly.com. Want to know your political news and just outrageous news? AlternativeNewsTalk.weebly.com. MMA News 1.weebly.com and Friday News 1.weebly.com. Also on Facebook, like us on Twitter. Actually, it's like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. So anyway, let's get into it. TNA 2012 pay-per-view review show for Slammiversary. Starts with Hulk Hogan comes out there and basically says, you know what, this is a big deal. I'm the GM. I can do what I want. So we're going to make the first match Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries. Alright, cool. And then he goes, well, let's make it a little bit more interesting. It's going to be for the X Division title. Woohoo! These guys tore down the house. The atmosphere was cool. The arena was cool. Everything was cool. I did not like Hulk Hogan come out there a little bit. Maybe I'm just a little too picky. Just because it's a pay-per-view and it kind of felt like an Impact just with a different atmosphere. But anyway, they got into it and they tore down the house. This is one of the better matches of the night. And Austin Aries defeats Samoa Joe with the Brainbuster and Nasty. A little scary of a finish to retain his X Division Championship. Now the next two guys were a little bit different. You haven't seen these guys in a while. You have Hernandez versus Kid Cash. Hernandez is okay. We just put up an article today, which is Monday, June 11th, that they're going to give him a babyface push. They like his physique. They like how he's firmly built himself up again. And they just wanted to put Kid Cash down, basically, and put Hernandez over. Did you really need this match in here? No, but I think it was decent. They did pretty good stuff here. It's cool to see Kid Cash back. He's an excellent wrestler. He's decent on the mic. He has that heel overconfidence personality that gets someone over. And Hernandez as a babyface, I don't know. There's just something lacking in Hernandez. Maybe it's just me. Maybe he needs to show something a little bit more. But what I've seen, I don't like of him. In-ring work, it's pretty good, and I can handle that. But anything with the mic, I don't want to see that. Hernandez defeats Kid Cash. Devon and Garrett Bischoff defeat Robbie E and Robbie T, which is pretty much a comical match. Garrett Bischoff got beat down for most of the match. Devon got the hot tag, and then defeated Robbie E and Robbie T. Nothing you really didn't want to see here. He didn't really miss anything. Number one contenders for the World Championship on Impact this Thursday. It's either going to be against Sting or Bobby Roode. We'll find out that later. And this was actually a pretty good match. They did a lot of high spots in this one, and the fact of not a lot of chain wrestling, a lot of high impact moves. I'm not saying they were flying around or anything, but I'm just saying high impact physical moves, which was pretty cool to see. Mr. Anderson defeats Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy in a triple threat match, and he will face either Sting or Bobby Roode this Thursday. Crimson comes out there and says, no one can beat me in my open challenge match, so come on down. And all of a sudden, James Storm's music hits. He pins Crimson to end the streak. What I don't like about this is they built up Bobby Roode and James Storm, and they put on a hell of a matches, and it's a pretty good storyline. Then you have James Storm pretty much, I don't know if I want to come back because of Bobby Roode. Come back, bound for glory, boom, win the belt. There you go. He has some nagging injuries. That's why he took off. You come back and defeat Crimson, bam, you're already in a storyline with Crimson. You can't just automatically go to Bobby Roode. And there's really no need for James Storm to come back and beat Crimson. You have plenty of other talents putting him over. But that was a pretty short match. Next was a Hall of Fame induction ceremony, first ever for TNA. I don't like this just because it was 10 years. They're not like WWE in the fact that they've been around for over 50 years. But you know what? It's their company. They can do what they want, and we're just an analyst. Of course, it was Sting. I think many people would agree with me that it should have been Jeff Jarrett. But that wasn't the fact, and Sting done a lot of things for TNA. He's helped the company build, and he'd probably be the second guy that deserves it. Thank God we didn't get Hulk Hogan in there because he really didn't help it all the way. But anyway, TNA Knockouts Championship Miss Tessmacher or Brooke Tessmacher versus Gail Kim for the Knockouts Championship. And one quick thing on here, they start calling her Miss Tessmacher or Miss Tess. Brooke Hogan put up an article today. She did that, and that was her executive decision. She wanted that change, so there we go. Her real name's Brooke Tessmacher. Actually, it's Brooke Adams, I think. It's Brooke something. But anyway, so Miss Tessmacher defeats Gail Kim to become the new Knockout Champion in her hometown. That was pretty cool. It was a little unexpected, but she's a very beautiful woman. She's pretty decent in the ring. She's decent on the mic. I think she can get better, and this is a future knockout for them. Joseph Parks defeats Bully Ray. Basically, you had Joseph Parks as Abyss, and Abyss was playing Joseph Parks. We all knew this. You had him kind of do rookie mistakes and didn't get a lot of offense in this one, but basically what happened was he got beat down a little bit, so he went under the ring. Well, here comes Abyss out of the other side of the ring. All right. At first, I didn't know if there was another person playing them, but it was a Team 3D person who's training at their camp named Lance. He came out there, he's a big dude. Basically chokeslammed Bully Ray through a table, and Joseph Parks came in there and pinned him. TNA Tag Team Title match of the night, no doubt about this. Kurt Angle and AJ Styles defeats Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. Now, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, I don't understand why Angle and Styles are getting the belt so soon." Well, here's the thing, people. Joseph Parks going over as babyface, big deal. We all knew main event Bobby Roode was going to win, so you have to have the crowd go home happy at least. So you have to have some babyface go over and become main event. Now, the way they ended this pay-per-view, I guess the crowd would have went home happy. But I'll get more into that. So these guys tore down the house. Best match of the night so far, and probably best match of the year candidate. I'm not saying it's going to win or anything. I'm saying it's going to be a candidate. Hell of a match. Just tore down the house. Great match. Kurt Angle and AJ Styles defeat Kazarian and Christopher Daniels to become the new tag team titles. Now, I don't know if Angle and Styles are going to hold on to the belt long. I don't know if they're going to go in a storyline together. I don't know if they're going to keep Angle and Styles together and continue the storyline with Kaz and Daniels. I think they will continue the Styles, Daniels, and Kazarian and it's a Carter storyline. I think that will happen. Who knows where this storyline's going to go over. I predicted this, that they were going to win. And I forgot that it was for the tag team titles. I just saw the build-up on Impact. And usually when someone has build-up for continuous weeks leading up to the pay-per-view, they're usually going to lose. Unless you are a world champion like Bobby Roode that gets the payoff. So that's the reason I picked him. I didn't know it was for the tag team titles, but it was. Great match, like I said, and hopefully they'll do another match. Maybe not an Impact, just because they don't give enough time, but definitely on pay-per-view. I think we will see that. And for the main event, TNA champion Bobby Roode defending and defeating Sting, and this was kind of a letdown because this was a very good pay-per-view by TNA. Some people said it'll be decent, and some people are just out there to hate. They hate TNA pay-per-views, they hate WWE pay-per-views, but they'll watch and buy every single one of them. They're just out there. You got to give it up for TNA. You can always not hate on TNA. TNA can sometimes good products. They have good in-ring talent. The storylines will lack, and they have horrible finishes. We can all agree on that. We can all agree that they have weak finishes and stupid finishes. And sometimes maybe the booking doesn't make sense. But if you look at this pay-per-view, only one thing I can really see that I didn't like was the James Storm coming back and beating Crimson, just because I want to see James Storm versus Bobby Roode. Now, maybe that's just a fan in me, and maybe I'm taking that out a little too context. But if you take that away, this was a very, very good pay-per-view by TNA. The main event lacked a little bit just because I don't know if it was because how slow it was, how Sting worked. It's just whenever you have Bobby Roode and Sting, and I'm not talking about a Impact main event or an Impact match. I'm talking about a pay-per-view quality main event match. You should get your money's worth because basically that's why you're buying the pay-per-view. You really didn't get that out of this pay-per-view, and you don't get that. You usually get that in wrestling pay-per-views. That's supposed to be your top draw. That's supposed to be your top storyline. And if you really think about it, the Sting versus Bobby Roode storyline, that's not your top storyline in TNA. Your top storyline in TNA is Dixie Carter, AJ Styles, Kazarian, and Christopher Daniels. So you have to take that a little bit back. Now, I'm not saying the tag team title match should be a main event. I'm not saying that. The world title should be main event every time. But it just something lacked, and I think a lot of people agree with me on that. If you don't, I'm sorry, and stuff. So it is what it is, and so yeah, that's what's going on. So Bobby retains. What was stupid, the horrible finish of this, and the match wasn't that bad. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying the finish was absolutely terrible. Here's why. Bobby Roode gets a six-pack of bottled beers around the announce table. He brings that in. Well, he grabs one bottle, and the ref takes it away. Well, the ref goes outside to get rid of the beer bottle, and Bobby Roode grabs another beer bottle. 5 remaining, he takes one. Smashes it. The ref sees it in the ring, and he counts on the broken / plastic glass. That's what I have a problem with. I mean, come on, man. You can't be that blind. If you take that out of the way, main event was pretty decent at best, but pay-per-view was great. Well, I wouldn't say great. I'd say it was very good. I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, that's a pretty good thing. What do y'all think? Leave it in the comment in the description, either if you're listening on YouTube, you're listening here on Spreaker podcast, and if we can get it on podomac.com podcast, I'm hoping so. I like Spreaker. I think it's a good thing. You can do live. You can do podcast. You can put sound effects in there. You can use it. What do y'all think? What do you think about this pay-per-view? I like this pay-per-view. That was a very good pay-per-view by TNA. What do y'all think? Leave me a comment in the description for those links, or leave me a comment. Links are in the description for the site. Shoot me an email, ngs2010@yahoo.com. If you don't work for the site, any of the sites. Yeah. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. TNA, I'm out of here, y'all. TNA 2012 Slammiversary pay-per-view review show. Results show is up on the site, but this is more in-depth and more of my opinions. We are on air. We are getting out of here last minute. We filled up the 15 minutes. And we'll see you next time, folks.